Here's an overview of the final exam. And so let me scroll up a bit here. You know the drill. There are a number of questions you'll be randomly assigned to. So make sure that you prepare an outline at least, or again, I know that some of you wrote out your answers ahead of time and then copied and pasted them into the submission box because people did a lot better on this last exam, the second midterm. So if you do that again, you probably will do just as well. So here we go. The first question is from chapter 12. I ask you to discuss how poverty, debt, and mass incarceration affect families in the United States. So be sure, sorry about that little link there. Be sure that you're talking about all three. Poverty, how does that affect families? Debt, how does that affect families? Mass incarceration, how does that affect families? Okay, those are three separate things, so you need to talk about each of them separately. And make sure that you're supporting your discussion with examples. Don't just say something such as mass incarceration takes a heavy toll on families. That is true, but give me an example or two. What happens to these families? Choose at least two social problems in families, and I gave you some pages there to review. So just choose two of those social problems and explain who is affected, the impact on their lives, and how American society addresses these social problems. Finally, does American society view, quote, bad mothers more harshly than, quote, bad fathers? Be sure to support your discussion with at least two examples. So that's purely your opinion there. What do you think? Question 2 is from chapter 11. Analyze how stop and frisk policies, disparities in traffic stops, and police brutality result in what many call racial profiling. Again, these are three separate things. So make sure you're talking about each one of those things separately. Don't just make a general statement, oh yeah, these all result in police brutality. Or, sorry, these all result in racial profiling. Explain each one. How does this result in racial profiling? Explain how the two approaches discussed in the text might help to reduce racial profiling. And those two approaches are the use of body cams and community policing. So how do those two things potentially help to reduce racial profiling? Explain that. Discuss how the wealth gap in the criminal justice system affects people from the upper and lower classes. Give examples to support your discussion. Okay, so there's a wealth gap in the criminal justice system. So read pages 215 to 16 and take a look at the difference between the experience of upper class people and lower class people. Explain it, give examples. Do you think the term criminal legal system is a better name for what is currently called the criminal justice system? Again, this piece is really just about your opinion. You will read in the text about how people, in fact, I also don't call it the criminal justice system. I tend to call it the criminal advocacy system because it really is a system of advocacy, not justice. So, what's your opinion? Question 3 is from chapter 13. Discuss at least 4 school inequalities. So there are several that are mentioned there, but there are others. So just choose 4 of them and talk about how these contribute to the educational gap between the two groups. The working class children and low-income children are one group, and the middle class and upper class children are the second group. So lots of information there. I gave you some pages to review. Make sure that you prepare. Choose at least 2 suggested ways to improve schools and discuss whether you think these efforts would work and the likelihood that communities will implement them. Okay, so just choose 2. And finally, do you think schools are the great equalizer in school? Again, that's just your opinion. The last question is from chapter 15. I forgot to put that there. So, chapter 15. Explain evidence of the declining trust and faith in American social institutions. Gave you some pages there to review. So the declining trust and faith in American social institutions. There's plenty of evidence that is outlined in the text, so make sure you review and discuss what that evidence is. Discuss how trust and confidence in institutions might be restored. So at least two ways, and explain them. In your opinion, which institution or institutions, if you think there are more than one, are most at risk of failing right now, today? Okay. Support your answer with at least 2 examples. Analyze at least 2 things that can be done for each institution you discuss to help address the problem or problems you outlined. Okay, so if you study for this, those of you who studied last time did a really good preparation of an outline or even wrote out full answers. You did really well. So I'd encourage you to do that again. Those of you who maybe didn't do it last time, this is really the time when you should probably think about doing that. That's it.